Hey folks, in this battle we compare two multi-tenant database architectures, shared database and database per tenant. Let's see how they stack up in terms of isolation, cost, and performance for SaaS applications. We'll send 100,000 requests per second from a single workload to both architectures, the monolithic design and the microservices implementation. This allows us to measure latency, throughput, and resource usage under identical conditions. Let's see how they compare. In the latency round, we specifically measure P99 query times, which represent the worst case latency experienced by 99% of requests. The shared database experiences significant contention among tenants, resulting in a high latency of 120 milliseconds. In contrast, the database per tenant approach isolates each tenant's workload into its own dedicated database, eliminating resource contention entirely. This isolation allows per tenant queries to complete in just 15 milliseconds, which is an eightfold improvement. Clearly, the database per tenant architecture wins this round decisively. Under a 10x load, the shared database quickly saturates and struggles to keep up with all the demand. The per tenant architecture decouples databases, allowing us to add dedicated database instances for each tenant. This enables horizontal scaling by simply adding more instances as needed. Each tenant gets its own database, avoiding bottlenecks and ensuring consistent performance and isolation. That's another win for the per tenant approach. Imagine the shared database goes down unexpectedly. Every single tenant relying on that database loses access. That's a classic single point of failure. In contrast, per tenant architecture gives each tenant its own isolated database. When one tenant's database experiences an outage, it doesn't affect anyone else. Failures are neatly contained to just that tenant. This isolation also simplifies backup and recovery. Each tenant's data can be backed up independently and restored without impacting others. So, once again, per tenant architecture wins on both isolation and backup capabilities. When it comes to cost, the shared database model is far cheaper. Instead of maintaining separate databases for each tenant, a single large database serves everyone. This allows for resource pooling and reduced operational expenses. The shared model significantly reduces licensing and hardware cost as well. In contrast, the per tenant model requires many databases, each needing its own management, backups, and monitoring, which multiplies overhead. Clearly, on economics, shared wins this round. The final score is shared database 1, database per tenant 3. Per tenant architecture is the clear winner for tenant isolation, independent scaling, and isolated failure handling. However, many SaaS platforms actually adopt a hybrid approach. They use shared databases for lower tier tenants to save cost and per tenant databases for premium tenants who need stronger guarantees. Use shared database when cost is your primary concern. Choose database per tenant for strong isolation and compliance needs. For most SaaS platforms, a hybrid approach that segments tenants by tier gives the best balance of cost and isolation. Thanks. Subscribe to Saturn Leap for more system design battles.